I have seen so many teachers complain about your salary and then buy Chick-fil-A for lunch every single day. And I'm just like, how can you complain about your salary and still somehow afford to go out to eat every single day? It doesn't make any sense. Pack a sandwich, people. Okay. I'm sorry if you're the one that's buying lunch every day. Pack a sandwich. Welcome to the Teacher Money Show, the podcast dedicated to helping teachers navigate your unique financial challenges and unlock your financial superpowers. I'm your host, Sean Morgan, a full-time educator and personal financial coach and speaker, and I'm here to help every teacher, whether you're a seasoned teacher looking for fresh insights or a new educator navigating your first paycheck, to have a richer wallet, classroom, and life. Remember, my next webinar, A Teacher's Financial PEMDAS for Guaranteed Success, is on December 9th at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you'd like to sign up, go to teachermoneyshow.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you there. We get to start off with another great episode of just me and you. We're going to be talking about frugal living, as we're going to talk about all season long, specifically the third of the big three, food. How can we keep our food budget in control? I'm going to give you 11 ideas because why not have a random number of ways that you can control your food budget? These are practical, implement them tomorrow ideas. So let's dive in. Number one, meal planning. This is the mother of all ideas. If you are not meal planning, you are overspending on your food budget. It's plain and simple. Having a plan is the most important thing. That way you are more likely to just eat what you have available and you know what's going to happen. So you're not going to go out to eat and you're not going to make impulse purchases because you know exactly what you're going to be eating every single day. Now, another way to do this kind of backwards is called backward meal planning. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to make all of these things, let's go buy all those ingredients, you say, what do I have already in my pantry that I can use to make dinner for the next week? This reduces waste. It reduces impulse purchases because you're not at the grocery store. And it's just an easy way to save some money because we already have plenty of food generally in our cupboards. Now, something I've done with this is I went to my pantry and I took a picture and I sent it to ChatGPT and said, these are the ingredients I have. What are some ideas that I could make for dinner? Some recipes. And it spit out about 6 recipes that I could make with what I had on hand. We chose one that sounded good and it was actually really good. So this is an easy win to just use what you have on hand. Now, another thing that you can do is to have a monthly no buy challenge. Yes, you'll need, milk or fresh fruits or vegetables, but instead of buying things to make things, just use that week to do this reverse planning. That way you're making sure you go through those things you already have instead of constantly buying new things. Number 2, have your go-to cheap meals. So there are multiple super inexpensive meals that we can make. Generally, the higher end ones are like, your steak, your heavy meat meals, meals that require a lot of ingredients or herbs. But instead having those cheaper meals like rice, beans, and veggies, or pasta with a simple sauce, or a stir fry, or breakfast for dinner, or some slow cooker soups. Just pick 2 or 3 of these things that you and your whole family loves that are super inexpensive and rotate those, 2 of them a week or so. Just you have something that you can quickly go to that's super inexpensive to keep that budget down every single week. Number 3, cook in bulk and freeze it. So there are lots of things that freeze well. Other things don't so much, so you need to be careful with that. But like chili, pulled pork, casserole, soups, pasta bakes, those types of things will freeze really well. If you have space in your freezer, making a large batch, using half of it or whatever you need, and then saving the rest for later to bring out at another time, basically makes it feel like when you eat that later, it's free because it's already been accounted for in your budget. And generally, those things are relatively inexpensive, make at home items that are easy to just grab when you're like, I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I forgot to make a plan, or I wanted to go out, but I don't have the budget for it. You just pull one of those things out and you are ready to go. Freezing that portion is the key though, because if you try and just do this in your fridge, you're going to have to use it just in a few days. So if you don't have the freezer space, this doesn't work as well. Another way to do this is to, instead of making like a whole pasta, casserole to shove in your freezer, you can pre-cook some proteins that you're going to use in multiple places. So that way you can, first of all, buy in bulk, because buying in bulk generally saves you money. And then you're able to just quickly, cycle through those proteins. So that way you don't have to freeze them. You can just say, okay, I've made enough meat, like I've roasted a whole chicken or whatever. I'm going to use it for, just regular roasted chicken and then tacos, and then, put it on a sandwich and then put it in a soup and so forth. You just recycle the protein that you already have, instead of having to make a new one every time, because those individual size packages are, of course, much more expensive than the larger bulk ones. You can do the same thing with ground beef or any other meat. I generally would recommend that you stick to chicken, because chicken is the least expensive meat. And then only occasionally for those special occasions use red meats of any kind, or porks or anything like that, if you're wanting meat. Number four, buy generic and stock up when it's cheap. So most generic items are actually made by the same manufacturers as the name brand. So it's really easy to save by just buying the generic version, and you don't really sacrifice very much. Now, there are definitely times when you don't want to buy generic. And you can figure that out. So don't think, oh, it's generic. I have to buy generic, right? I buy generic cereal. I actually like the generic cereal better than the boxed kind, but I don't buy generic canned vegetables because they just don't taste as good. And I don't want to eat something that I already don't enjoy as much as I should, but made worse, right? And I want my kids to actually want to eat the vegetables. So we get the name brand canned vegetables when we're going with canned vegetables. It's a huge thing to figure out which ones can I go generic on, which ones should I not. Along with that, learn the book price. How much should something cost? And if you find it on a good rollback or a good, discount or a good, clearance, whatever, that is the time to stock up. You know that there's like a set price it should be, and sometimes they make it go up because of the season, or they make it go down because it's about to expire or whatever. Then you can just stock up on those things. And, if it's canned goods, like a lot of things that have expiration dates don't really expire on the expiration date. You just need to be careful about that, of course, but you can generally stock up when they are not able to keep them on the shelf anymore, and then just keep using them. This can even go for meats. They have to have a pretty quick expiration date on meats, but if you freeze those meats, you can get them, cheaply when they are discounted, because they have to be sold before that expiration date, and then freeze it and use it later, without really having to worry about that expiration date. And if you just do this consistently, keeping an eye on those prices, you're going to be able to, spend just less in general on those staples you use constantly. Okay, number five. Don't just be loyal to one store. If you would like to save money, you've got to shop the deals. Now, this does take time. You have to, look at the apps, or look at the ads, or look at whatever it is. But when I was, a young, just starting out first year teacher, we would go to the cheapest store in town, which was Walmart. But then we would look at the ads for Safeway, and they would often have buy one, get two free on meat. And since meat was, expensive, always has been, it seems, that's where we would go to get our meat. Anytime we wanted meat, we'd wait for a buy one, get two free deal at Safeway, get all the meat that we needed, and then we'd be good to go. So that is how we would balance that. But just keep in mind that stores are not rewarding you just for being loyal. Yeah, they might have like a rewards program or something like that that can make a difference. But you want to shop the deals and shop the best store in your area to get the quality food that you want. My uncle went to two different stores that we have in this area, United and Market Street. Turns out they're owned by the same company, and the only difference is the price. You're going to spend more at Market Street than you will at United. So you've got to pay attention to that type of thing, and not just go somewhere because it's nicer or it's higher quality, and it might not actually be higher quality. The generic at the high-end store is going to be pretty much the same quality as the generic at the regular store. So keep that in mind. Generally speaking, stores that I love are Aldi, Winco, Costco. If you aren't just going in and grabbing things like a kid in a candy store, right? Using that for those bulk purchases, because once again, bulk is cheaper generally. Walmart, and then you can go down to like Kroger or HEB, and then like Target. If you're shopping groceries at Target every single day, you are just throwing money away, because Target is super expensive for groceries and so forth. So just keep that in mind. Like you can say, okay, I'm generally going to shop at this place because it is cheaper. But on the other hand, I'm going to look for those deals. So that is what you balance. Okay, number six. I love this one. This one is something that my wife and I have actually started recently. The half meat rule. Because we are a meat heavy society in America. We just put meat in everything constantly. That's our number one source of protein, and it's probably one of our top sources of calories besides sugar. So we can dial it back. When we see a recipe that says, add this much meat, take out half of that, add in some beans, add in some rice, add in some lentils, potatoes, vegetables, whatever it is that's going to fill that space in the recipe, but not be, $7 a pound meat. So that is something that you can do to keep the meat in the diet without having too much. My wife and I have used Every Plate in the past. I'm not sponsoring them, and in fact, we're no longer using them. But they would send us a ton of meat sometimes, and we could make it and then have a bunch of leftovers. But we started, using only half of the meat they sent us, fill in with some lentils, and then we'd have an extra package of meat that we could use in a different home cooked meal later. So there's a lot of opportunity to dial back the meat or to make it stretch further, right? If I'm making like, hamburger patties, I can add in some oats and it makes the patties stretch further. There's ways that you can keep meat in the diet if that's what you love and not spend as much on it. So keep that in mind. Number seven, pack your teacher lunch. I have seen so many teachers complain about your salary and then buy Chick-fil-A for lunch every single day. And I'm just like, how can you complain about your salary and still somehow afford to go out to eat every single day? It doesn't make any sense. Pack a sandwich, people. Okay. I'm sorry if you're the one that's buying lunch every day. Pack a sandwich. Just bring something inexpensive. Don't buy a mix of salad. Just get all the ingredients and make your own salad to bring to work. Whatever it is, look for ways that you can save by packing your own lunch. Leftovers from the night before, fantastic lunch the next day. Don't overestimate this because this is probably one of the top things that takes money out of our pocket with food, along with the next one, which is buying drinks. Okay, so we've got the coffee thing, buying Starbucks every day. It's killing your budget. Yes, I know it's like people talk about, oh, it's only $3 or it's only $5. It's, it shouldn't be the thing that you toss out. You should look at other things. No, no. This is an easy fix because if the thing is you like nice coffee, invest in a really nice coffee maker that you can have at home and then spend pennies on the dollar making it yourself. And in 2, 3 months, you'll have made back your money. You'll be having a fantastic cup and you'll be able to continue to have those savings moving forward. This is the frugal mindset, right? Finding a way to get what you want for less. I really love these craft coffees. Then you get the nice coffee maker. You don't want to go cheap though. If you're like, no, I'm just gonna, go cheap on this. If you really want that, don't be the guy that I saw at Home Depot, like taking like three, cups of free coffee from Home Depot. That was probably awful. Right? That's the cheap version. So find a way to get what you enjoy for less. Another problem I see teachers have is sodas, juices, bottled iced teas, energy drinks. All those things are just killing our budget. I shared a room with a teacher who I did not see drink water for at least 6 months. She was only drinking Diet Coke, and it was crazy to me that you can even drink that much soda in a day and that you can have the budget for that. Scale that back. I know that we love our drinks. Every teacher has their favorite drink. I've seen it. Water is better for you and it's cheaper. Don't get bottled water. Get a water bottle and just bring yourself. If you're like, no, I don't like the water that we have at school. I don't like our tap water. Okay, get a filter and fill up a gigantic jug of water and bring it to work. That's still going to be cheaper than buying bottled water. There are so many things we can do to save on drinks. If you like that fizz, they have like those soda streams. You can use those to get your fizz and get your flavor. You can buy all sorts of flavors that you can put into water and then fizz it up, and boom, you're off to the races with a yummy drink that you get to mix and match, and you get to save a ton of money. So just stop it with the drinks, okay? Yes, you can go out and have a good time, go to, the happy hour or the 50% off drinks on the app or whatever it is you would like occasionally. But if you're doing it daily, find a way to get the same experience for less. Okay, number nine, use the free teacher perks. So many restaurants have some sort of teacher appreciation day or just a discount for teachers or buy one, get one deals. If you are at a store and you are making a purchase, say, is there a discount for teachers? That's all it takes. Have your card on hand to show, yes, I'm a teacher. Bam, discount, easy. There are so many opportunities for teachers to save money because people want to support teachers, but they just don't know how to do it. So look for those opportunities to get a free meal or a buy one, get one, or things like that. And always don't be afraid to ask. Number 10, build a frugal breakfast routine. So we are often, you know, if you're not just drinking coffee for breakfast, because I know a lot of teachers do that, but if you're, making breakfast or you're trying to, get something quick like a muffin from Starbucks when you're there, those things are going to be adding up and they're going to be expensive. Oats are cheap. Eggs are less cheaper than they used to be, but they're more filling and they're better for you than a lot of these things that we're getting, just the empty carbs. Smoothies, fantastic for you. If you're making them at home, they can be relatively inexpensive. If you're buying them out, going to be really expensive. Bagels are expensive when you buy them out, but when you have them at home, relatively inexpensive. Once again, you just want to find healthy alternatives for food instead of either A, just a bowl of cereal, which is really not that good for you. I'm guilty of this too, but a bowl of cereal is not that good for you, and it's really not that cheap compared to some other options out there. So look for those inexpensive, at home, cheap breakfast items. I just have a banana and or toast and a glass of milk as my breakfast. I was doing some math. I'm a little weird, guys, but I was like, okay, I spent, $1.32 on my bunch of bananas and they weighed this much. So if I take off one banana and I weigh it, okay, this banana cost, and I was like figuring that out. And I was like, okay, how much does a gallon of milk cost? I, have this much weight of milk when I pour it. I figured out that a banana and a glass of milk cost me like maybe 50 cents. If I was using toast, maybe up to like 75, 80 cents for breakfast. Well, when I was eating a bowl of cereal, it was like $1.50 for a bowl of cereal. So it's really not that cheap to have cereal. As much as it seems simple and easy, there are other alternatives. And if you mix it up between different inexpensive items, you'll stay content, you'll be enjoying it, and you'll feel better, and you'll just be happier because you're putting good things in your body to start the day. I like to try and follow the $1 per meal rule. It's harder now with inflation, so maybe $1.50, but thinking, how can I make this meal $1 per person? So if you have four people, $4 on the meal, right? $1 for your breakfast, maybe $1.50, but somewhere in there, trying to keep that cost down so that way you are not blowing up your budget. Okay, lastly, number 11. This is the one that everyone talks about. It's eating out, but I have to bring it up because we're talking about how to spend less on food. Eating out costs a ton of money. If you are eating out regularly, you are overspending on your food budget. This should be for special occasions. This is not something that was just the norm until recently. Eating out is killing your budget. So consider this thing when you eat out. Pick just a special meal per month, maybe per week if your budget can handle that, but don't do more than that. It's killing your budget. Skip appetizers, skip drinks. Those things are killing your budget. They're not going to make your life a bajillion times better to have an appetizer for 20 bucks, but it's going to make your wallet happy. You can go during a happy hour if you want to drink to be able to save on the money instead of just buying it whenever you're there. Using coupons, using reward apps, eating out on Tuesdays because those are often their deal days because not enough people eat out on Tuesdays instead of Fridays when they can jack up their prices or they don't have as many specials or anything like that because everyone's eating out on Fridays. There's days where kids eat free. If you have kids, take them on kids eat free days instead of on a random Saturday. Okay. Say, okay, at this restaurant, it's Mondays, our kids eat free. Let's go there on Monday. Those types of intentionality will help you to be keeping your budget in control. So, just to recap our 11 practical tips, meal planning. Make sure you have a plan every single time you're shopping and making food, whether that's going it from I'm going to buy these things to make my meals, or I have these things, so that's what I'm going to use. Number two, have go-to cheap meals so that way you are consistently saving money every single week because you are always using these cheap meals. Number 3, cook in bulk and freeze. So that way you have the benefits of the bulk, and when you pull out that frozen meal, it's almost like it's free. It can save you from going out. Lots of benefits. Number 4, buy generic everything that you can and stock up when it's cheap. Those things are going to keep you spending much less on your food. Number 5, shop the deals, shop the cheaper stores. Don't buy at a place for status, buy at a place for the best price for the quality that you need. Number 6, use the half meat rule. Cut the meat in half, add it with a different filler. Lentils are way better for you than red meat is, so put some of those in there. Some beans, some potatoes, all those things are going to fill your tummy, and it's going to be less expensive and be delicious. So go ahead and go with that. Number 7, pack your lunch when you're going to work. This is just an absolute killer. Make sure you're packing your lunch and find, inexpensive, delicious alternatives that are not prepackaged, frozen items from the store. You got to make it yourself if you want it to be inexpensive. Number 8, stop buying drinks. Cut back on, the going out for coffee. Cut back on the buying your sodas, and find alternatives to keep yourself happy in that area without spending as much money. Or just drink water, which is, of course, better for you. Number 9, lean into being a teacher. Ask for those discounts. Ask for those perks. Number 10, build a frugal breakfast routine. Find the inexpensive and yet healthy ways to eat breakfast in the morning. Like I said, oatmeal, I think, is one of the cheapest and best ways to start off your day. There's also, fresh fruit. If you're going to have cereal, just have a glass of milk. That's the part that's filling your stomach much more than those puffy grains are anyway. Those are the types of things you can do to cut down your breakfast. And then lastly, 11, eat out intentionally instead of just because you feel like it. Those things are going to save you money. If we follow these 11 tips, and I'm sure there's more. If you have more, please send me an email at Shaun, SHAUN, @teachermoneyshow.com and tell me about them. I'd love to include them in the show notes. If you have other crazy ideas, you can put them in the comments on the YouTube channel, which is @teachermoneyshow, and you can comment there. Do all these things. Tell me all the great ideas, because I know that I have not even scratched the surface. I've heard about a lady who spends $800 a year on food. It is possible to bring our food budgets down if we are intentional about it. And if we do these things, it'll put more money in our pockets, which will allow us to start growing our wealth. But remember, as a teacher, you are already rich. Your wallet just needs to catch up. If you would like help on your personal financial situation, go to teachermoneyshow.com/coaching, and you'll be able to find different ways that I can help you there. If you would like to participate in spreading this message of financial empowerment to teachers, I would encourage you to talk to your administrator or to your district level about going to SeanKMorgan.com to find more information there. And regardless of which one of those you need, please like and subscribe so that way we can spread the reach of this more. Leave a 5-star rating and review. That's going to help more teachers find this, and then turn around and tell a teacher friend. I really appreciate it. The contents of this podcast are informational in nature and are not legal or tax advice, and neither I nor my guests are engaged in the provision of legal, tax, or any other advice. You should not act upon this information without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer, or other professional.